People will use them in terms of recreationally, sometimes to experiment, sometimes to enhance the impact of other drugs.
With the COVID pandemic and the rise of fentanyl, deaths from opioid overdose have risen dramatically. UNC's Office of Student Affairs has advice for how to stay safe.
It's great to actually, get together with the community and do something for the community.
It's been 6 months since we said goodbye to UNC's oldest and largest tree. Find out what students are doing to continue the legacy of the silver maple.
So that African Americans could have their own home, their own lands, and so forth.
Welcome back to Deerfield, Colorado. Stay tuned to learn more about the historic frontier settlement and the team bringing it back to life. Bear News starts now.
Hello and welcome to our final episode of Bear News this semester. I'm Alani Cassiano.
And I'm Mia Olivas. Thanks for joining us. The opioid epidemic in America has become increasingly more and more fatal since the end of the coronavirus pandemic. Bear News reporter Jordan Stone took a deep dive into the epidemic and talked to campus officials about what they are doing to combat the rise of opioids.
Opioids, sometimes called narcotics, are medications prescribed by doctors to treat persistent or severe pain. They are used by people with chronic headaches and backaches, by patients recovering from surgery or experiencing severe pain associated with cancer. Someone using opioids recreationally usually get hooked on them from having some sort of pain in the beginning.
They use it and then eventually they're not able to stop. People will use them in terms of recreationally, sometimes to experiment, sometimes to enhance the impact of other drugs, sometimes eventually because maybe they're literally hooked on the drug. There is a euphoria effect that happens when you use the drug in terms of the short-term consequence. But there are, again, all these difficult consequences as well that come up.
Opioids attach to proteins called opioid receptors on nerve cells in the brain, spinal cord, gut, and other parts of the body. When this happens, the opioids block pain messages sent from the body through the spinal cord to the brain. While they can effectively relieve pain, opioids carry some risks and can be highly addictive. The risk of addiction is especially high when opioids are used to manage chronic pain over a long period of time.
When you put that much or a large amount of these narcotics in your system, it's so much that the system can't handle. Maybe one or two of these die, and now you only have this many receptors left. And so when you take when you ingest another amount of drugs, even the same amount you took last time, you're no longer physically capable of achieving the same type of euphoria that you did the first time, just because you have physically less synapses or receptors for it. And as you keep doing that, you keep burning out more and more until you're left with only a few, and that's why you see people take increasing amounts of drugs each time to try to get to that original high they felt the first time.
Opioids are a class of drugs naturally found in the opium poppy plant. In 1775, opium became more widely available to pre-revolutionary Americans. By 1860, morphine was used as a painkiller during the Civil War. Many soldiers on both sides became addicted.
So a lot of the opiates that we have today still kind of can be traced to that. However, over the years, we've developed the capacity to manufacture synthetic opioids. So these are produced in a lab.
Chemists continue to try and find a less addictive form of morphine to use as an anesthetic. In 1874, heroin was created for this purpose. As more people became addicted to opioids, the Harrison Narcotics Tact Act limited these drugs in 1914, making them only available by prescription. For the most part, this cured the illicit use of opioids for some time, until the modern opioid crisis. During the pandemic, there is a national increase of opioid usage.
This issue of drugs being laced with fentanyl is a kind of a dynamic and ongoing process. So the kinds of drugs that people are using, the purity of drugs that people are using, the amount of them that have been laced with fentanyl, all of that was sort of changing during the course of the pandemic too. And so all of that left us in a situation where at the end of the pandemic we had a much worse situation than we did at the front end.
In 2021, an anonymous survey was sent out to UNC students asking about their participation in recreational use of opioids. Approximately 700 students responded. 1.6% of students reported using any type of opioids in the last 6 months. 0% responded to using heroin.
At the police department, we've had no incidents that we've responded to that have involved opioids at all on campus.
All it takes is one bottle of pills getting into our supply for campus, and several people could be affected over a weekend, let's say. Other universities out there have had multiple students die when there's been sort of a batch of bad pills get into the campus supply. So it really is a bit of a roulette wheel in terms of guessing of is it going to hit us this semester? Is it going to hit next semester? How many pills are involved? So it's really important to just be very careful with these drugs.
In terms of opioids, one can use fentanyl test strips to test drugs to see if any opioid is present.
You need to be careful because we call it the chocolate chip cookie effect. So for example, if you're just testing a certain slice of a pill, let's say, and not the whole pill itself, fentanyl is extremely, extremely lethal. So just a few grains of salt, if you can imagine about that much, is a potentially lethal dose. So if you're testing a pill and you only test a portion of the pill, it could be the fentanyls in the rest of the pill that you didn't test. So you really should follow instructions for how to use fentanyl test strips appropriately. You need to test the entire pill to see if fentanyl is present. And that will often tell you whether fentanyl is present, although again, they're not 100% foolproof.
Carrying naloxone or Narcan can help if an overdose were to happen. Even
with Narcan or naloxone, you don't want to be using the drug all by yourself. If you're all by yourself, there's no one who can administer the drug to you if you have an overdose situation. So you always want to be using drugs with other people and have a designated non-user.
Some signs of an opioid overdose can be limpness in the body, vomiting, a cold, clammy face, unconsciousness or unresponsiveness, faint or weak pulse, and discoloration of a person's face or lips. One does not need to have all of these signs for it to be an overdose. Dr. John Hancock says, if you are thinking of using these drugs, make sure you are informed about what you are using. On this website, you can learn how to get free Narcan, free fentanyl test strips, and information about risk strategies and how to stay the safest while using opioids.
If you want to be safe around this issue, the safest way to go is don't use any drugs that haven't been prescribed for you and haven't come from a pharmacy.
Jordan Stone, reporting for Bear News.
Thanks, Jordan. Be safe out there, bears, and don't be afraid to call first responders for help when it is needed.
UNC has a variety of clubs for students to choose from. Joining any club offers involvement, community, and leadership skills to all who participate. This week, we shine a spotlight on the Japanese Language and Culture Club. Bear News reporter Carmen Machuca tells us more.
UNC offers many clubs and organizations for students to join and create memorable experiences. The Japanese Language and Culture Club is one of many unique clubs and is back after a hiatus.
The club just recently started this spring 2023, and so we are looking for new team leaders for next year to take over the places of a lot of the seniors that are running the club right now. So if you're interested, please email us.
The Japanese Language and Culture Club is dedicated to cultivating understanding of Japanese culture and language through educational activities and opportunities. An example of the club's activities is making onigiri. Onigiri are Japanese rice balls made of steamed rice that is shaped into a triangular shape and are wrapped in a seaweed sheet. The club strives to create a welcoming and comfortable environment for everyone at any language level.
We just hope to see a lot of participation, a lot of happy environment, a lot of interest in people who hopefully maybe want to go to Japan eventually and just get started either in that interest or learn more and get a more in-depth knowledge of Japanese culture and things like that. So yeah.
The club plans to have activities such as Japanese holiday celebrations, Japanese cooking, Japanese calligraphy, and movie screenings. The Japanese Language and Culture Club meets Tuesdays and Thursdays with the location to be announced. Anyone is welcome to join. For Bear News, this is Carmen Machuca.
Thanks, Carmen.
We see them everywhere on campus. They get to live here free and they eat the food we throw away. The squirrels here at UNC are living the high life, and Bear News reporter Emily Gutierrez went around catching up with our furry-tailed neighbors.
Mia, I got the opportunity recently to see the lucky white-tailed squirrel over on Central Campus. Have you ever seen it?
I never have, and I've always wanted to.
Maybe you will sometime soon.
I really hope so.
Graduation is only 1 week away, so whether you're graduating or attending to support your fellow Bears, here is all you need to know. All commencement ceremonies are indoors this year at the Bank of Colorado Arena on campus. For all doctoral and graduate students, the ceremony will take place at 6 p.m. on Friday, May 5th. The ceremonies for all undergraduate students will take place on Saturday, May 6th. Students graduating from the Colleges of Education and Behavioral Sciences or Performing and Visual Arts will walk at 9 a.m. Students graduating from the College of Natural and Health Sciences will walk at 12:30 p.m. And students graduating from the Mumford College of Business and the College of Humanities and Social Sciences will walk at 3 p.m. Tickets are required to attend the ceremonies. If you do not have a ticket, overflow viewing will be offered in the Lindau Auditorium, and the ceremony will be live streamed on UNC's YouTube channel and the ceremony's webpage. Remember to pick up your cap and gown on campus on Thursday, May 4th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and on Friday, May 5th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you did not order regalia or missed the deadline, walk-up orders can be placed at pickup events. For any additional questions, make sure to visit the FAQ section on commencement on UNC's website or contact events at unco.edu. Congratulations to all our graduating Bears, and we wish you the best of luck from all of us here at Bear News.
The Campus Commons Art Gallery is back this spring. Bear News reporter Taylor Rodriguez tells us all you need to know.
The annual student juried exhibition made its return this spring. The College of Performing and Visual Arts hosts the art gallery every year. The purpose of the exhibition is dedicated to showcasing students' work.
But for that, basically, any student can submit work, and then we have an outside juror, so someone who will hire either from, Denver, Boulder, one of the adjacent cities, or even farther than that, basically a professional artist who's active in the field, who will judge all of the work that's submitted, select the final pieces that will be in the show, and then actually select a few more pieces to give awards to.
This year, there are 28 pieces in the gallery, all created by individual artists. The artworks range from ceramic work and acrylic paintings to digital illustrations and mixed medias.
This is far and above the nicest gallery I've ever seen connected to a university. It's a really amazing space, and it's so versatile for showcasing a lot of different types of work.
The art gallery is open in the campus commons on the first floor. It is a free exhibition, and it will be open to the public until May 5th. For more information, you can visit the UNC website or check out their Instagram at UNC_galleries. With Bear News, I'm Taylor Rodriguez.
Thanks, Taylor. When we come back, we will take you over to Sam for the weather and tell you about one of UNC's oldest residents.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Welcome back. We will take you over to Sam in a bit for the weather, but first, let's catch you up on what has been happening here on campus. One of the university's oldest residents had its time chopped short back in October when it was discovered that the silver maple was sick. Although it is sad that the maple is gone, efforts are being taken to not only replace it, but to further add to the number of trees on campus. I caught up with those connected with the project to see how things are going. While students plan for finals, Some students are also planting trees.
So we are planting a birch today. How are we doing?
UNC is a designated tree campus.
It means that the university is committed to protecting our tree campus. We dedicate funds to the maintenance of our tree campus. We train our staff in the maintenance of our campus trees.
So when we lose a tree, it's a big deal. The silver maple was a historic tree. Located next to President's Row, this former state champion tree was the largest tree on campus and was suspected to also be the oldest. It was cut down last fall after it was discovered to be suffering from decomposition that made it a danger to people. Measuring in at 6 feet in diameter, the removal of this tree was considered a devastating loss by environmental groups on campus and by anyone with fond memories of it.
It was planted circa 1800. That's a big loss for campus, a tree that many students, faculty, staff have engaged with, supported events and activities around. I've even had families share stories with me about how they've taken their family photos with that tree annually. So
to make up for its loss, Student Leaf, Earth Guardians, and UNC Landscaping and Grounds collaborated to plant 122 trees across campus on April 21st and April 28th. Each tree represents a year of the silver maple's suspected age.
It's great to actually, get together with the community and do something for the community. That'll actually leave a physical mark, a permanent mark on the campus.
Not only were the trees planted to honor the silver maple, but adding trees to the campus provides many aesthetic and environmental benefits.
Trees help mitigate some of the moisture loss on campus. They provide shade, mitigate some of that solar reflection that you get from parking lots on campus, and then just provides a great place to recreate and help support the mental health of students, faculty, and staff. By contributing to tree planting today, we're kind of giving to the future of campus.
Jim Dorner and carpenters from UNC facilities have collaborated in the chopping and sanding of the silver maple in an effort to preserve it and to determine its true age.
I think it would make a great display somewhere on campus, and if people wanted to do a timeline with it, associate the different rings and different years, maybe events tied to events on campus.
Although the exact age of the tree has yet to be determined, the sanding of the tree so far has come with some unexpected revelations.
There were two trees that were growing side by side, and as they got large enough, they butted up against each other and eventually melded. You'll see that there's actually two piths of the trees where they each started. It's clearly two different trees, and there's actually a scar between the two trees that represents where the bark was on each of the tree.
Plans are underway to preserve and display a section of the tree in order to honor its historical impact on UNC's campus.
I think different people will have a different relationship to the tree, but I think if we can preserve it in this way and have that record for them, then it'll always be there even though the tree is no longer living.
Yeah, I think we're looking really good.
With such a large number of trees, it will take some time to get them all planted.
With the semester winding down, a lot of clubs on campus are celebrating the end of the semester. I sat down with members of the Unified Club here on campus to see how they wrapped up the semester.
Maggie, where are you right now? Oh yeah, that one was...
On Wednesday, April 26th, from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m., Unified Club hosted their end-of-the-year celebration on the Gunter Green. The event featured pizza, snacks, frisbees, hula hoops, and other outdoor activities. This is just one of many events that Unified hosts throughout the year. Club activities include sports games, holiday celebrations, and other events.
We did a Halloween party where we just had snacks and music and people could dress up if they wanted to. We played games.
Partnered with the Special Olympics, Unified is designed to provide opportunities for students across a range of intellectual and developmental abilities to participate in activities together. Some of Unified's events are also fundraisers, which help keep the club up and running. One of these events is the annual Polar Plunge at Windsor Lake.
Each person raises money so that they are able to plunge, You get a t-shirt and you join your team, and some teams even dress up or wear tutus or headbands or other kinds of costumes and things and run into the freezing cold lake, and it's all for a good cause. We beat our goal of 1,000 and we raised just over $1,300 this year.
Unified hopes to promote inclusion across UNC's campus.
I love that all of the people support one another. The campus in general is just like a lot of people supporting me and support other people is just awesome.
Unified's goal is not only to promote inclusion, but to do so in a fun way.
I just love the community and friendships that it brings, because you can tell people all about it, but you'll never truly feel that experience until you come, and then once you come, you're hooked. So just my heart is so full every time.
Good luck to everyone as we wind down this semester.
As you may know, almost all bears are naked, but one bear on campus needed to bundle up a little bit.
If you were on Central Campus sometime this week, you might have noticed something a little different. These new digs are thanks to Stephanie Spindler and her 3D design class of the School of Art and Design. Together, they crocheted a sweater full of hearts. Attached to the sweater were also hearts you can take and sweet messages. They also started a new hashtag.
We also tried to create a hashtag that resonated with UNC and the mental health awareness, which is hashtag You Are Loved. SOAD.
That was the ultimate goal of the Crochet Bomb, to spread mental health awareness. With finals coming up, it can be a stressful time for students, and the sweater is there to remind you that you are loved.
I know there's a lot of people who have struggled with it, including myself, so it's really nice to be able to know that we are helping make a difference for somebody.
Crochet is not a new hobby, but it has been gaining popularity. And it has mental health benefits.
It's been really good for people that have attention deficit, because they can focus.
There are no more crochet hearts to take, but if you want to see the sweater, you have until tomorrow.
But it was never meant to be. It's never meant to be a permanent fixture. So we'll take it down Saturday and recycle the squares.
Leo Mallard, Bear News.
Thanks, Leo. While it may be a stressful time in the semester, don't forget to take care of yourself.
With finals week right around the corner, students are trying to finish strong. Bear News reporter Taylor Rodriguez finds out how students are staying focused for these last days of school.
As the leaves start to return and the weather warms up, it can be hard to stay motivated to finish the school year. With the summer season quickly approaching, students are eager to get outside.
Coming out here and trying to do work on my laptop.
With semester finals next week, students are trying their best to finish strong. Although students may have different schedules and agendas, they are all looking forward to the same thing.
Yeah, just looking forward to sleeping in and spending time outside.
While students may be ready to relax, there is still one more week left. Good luck next week and finish strong, Bears. With Bear News, I'm Taylor Rodriguez.
Thanks, Taylor, and good luck out there, Bears.
This semester, our very own Sam Parker has been leading the charge to bring a true meteorologist to Bear News. Our own Ivan de la Garza caught up with Sam to talk about his love for meteorology.
When it comes to the news, every broadcast needs a weather person. Since he was young, Sam Parker has always been interested in the weather.
I'm originally from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma, is usually known to get the severe storms and the tornadoes. So growing up of having to hunker down in my basement whenever there's a tornado warning over my area, it just kind of brought that thrill and excitement. I wanted to know more.
It wasn't until he got older that Sam became interested in broadcasting. After hearing from his peers about Bear News, Sam decided to join the team.
I didn't know Bear News was a thing until some of the older meteorology students said, hey, you should do Bear News, because I always did want to do broadcasting, but I didn't know they had this.
So what really goes into being a weather forecaster? It surely is much more than just chasing storms. In order to be a meteorologist, there's a lot of preparation involved in and outside of the studio.
I use practically just forecast models, provided by National Weather Service. A big one I use is College of DuPage, and just looking at all the synoptic scale features in the meteorology.
On the screen, it may seem like there is just one meteorologist, but behind the scenes, it takes much more than just one person.
I wanted to give Sam a little more
modern look for his graphics. So Sam comes in and we put in all the weather data into the After Effects program.
The Colorado weather may be unpredictable. You can always rely on Sam saying,
I'm Weatherman Sam, and thanks for watching Bear News Now.
I'm Ivan de la Garza, Bear News.
Thanks, Yvonne. Now let's take you over to the man himself to see what the weather will look like over the next couple of days.
Let's hope we will have some sunny weather to combat our dreary moods during finals week.
I sure hope so, Alani. What can you tell us, Sam?
Well, we had a great day yesterday, but then yesterday afternoon brought us some rain showers, and yesterday evening brought us a cold front that came through, giving us chilly weather today. Highs across the state, mostly in the 40s and 50s. Fort Collins and Denver, though, looking in the 60s. But this is where we had that cold front move all the way through the state, giving us these chilly temperatures today. Because as we take a look currently right now, temperatures across the state are all around in the 50s. Some 40s down in Colorado Springs, but still mostly sunny skies today. But your Greeley forecast is looking at a high of 59 and still mostly sunny weather. But this is the only cold day we got to get through, because up into this week and into finals week, we see 70s and 60s with mostly sunny conditions, and even into finals week, staying in the 70s. But as we look towards Thursday, we could have some possible thunderstorms coming our way. Thanks for watching weather this semester. We'll head back to the desk.
Thanks, Sam. And not just for today's weather, but for bringing us the weather all semester long.
Summer is right around the corner, Bears. That means warm weather is on the way. When we come from break, we will tell you more about Deerfield, a fun historical site you can visit this summer.
I'll see ya.
After a basketball game, a black teenage boy, Brandon, reads his texts in his family group chat. Auntie Flo, congrats on the big win. Mom, that's my baby. Brandon replies, thanks y'all. In a park, his sister Maya texts, where are we celebrating? Dad replies, home. Mom texts, I got dinner going. Auntie Flo replies, ooh, I can't wait. Then receives a FEMA flood watch text alert. She texts the family, anyone see that weather alert? We need a plan to stay safe, especially after last year. Ready has a list of resources at ready.gov/plan. In his workshop, Dad sends a photo of emergency supplies and texts, looks like we need flashlights and batteries. Leaving a store with a shopping bag, Brandon replies, I got us covered. Mom texts, I'll check in with Grandma and Papa. Maya texts, thanks Auntie, feeling good about this plan.
I got some batteries and 2 flashlights.
What's up, champ? I feel like you get taller every time I see you.
Stay connected.
Congratulations, Brandon.
Welcome back. Before we take you to the news around the state and the country, we want to first take you back to a story we covered earlier in the semester. About a half-hour drive from campus sits Deerfield, Colorado. Though it may look like a ghost town today, Deerfield was a bustling agricultural settlement for Black Americans in the 1920s. Now UNC has joined with half a dozen academic organizations to research and preserve the site. Reporter Will Coleman takes us for a look at the frontier community and the people working to uncover it.
The word deer was chosen as the town's name because of the precious value of the land and community to Oliver Tucson Jackson, the town's founder. Deerfield was an experiment right in our own backyard, an African-American founded colony for other African Americans.
So that African Americans could have their own home, their own lands, and so forth. And that was the philosophy of the founder, Mr. O.T. Jackson. And so that was the goal of many black people, to own their own home and own land, because it gives you power. And also you can pass it down to your children and grandchildren.
Deerfield was extremely well known among the African American population throughout the country and was very well regarded. And it was considered to be a grand experiment that Black people could take charge of their own destinies and make opportunities for not only themselves but their families.
The Deerfield Dream Project seeks to challenge the historically white narrative of the American frontier, proving that Black Americans played a pivotal role in settling the West.
When looking at this history, you have to understand that this was done by black people, when at the same time there are people who are saying black people couldn't do this. It's impossible for them. And Deerfield showed that people like that were wrong.
These are the building blocks of history, right? You tell history from looking at documents, right? From looking at the letters and looking at these photographs. This is what lets us know what was happening in Deerfield so that we can talk about the African American experience on the plains of northern Colorado.
Though Deerfield was far from the only African American settlement, its popularity and success as a farming community made it a symbol of black empowerment during a time of segregation.
So black people were moving out of the South because of segregation and coming out to the West, and many of them found their own communities. The most popular, I guess you would say, African American farming community, everybody knew about it. It was picked up on black newspapers. It was highly successful. They did bumper crops of everything that they planted and raised out there.
The colony was important for more than just black Americans, though. Deerfield was a diverse settlement, forming connections between various disenfranchised communities.
People from Deerfield came from all walks of life. They were not only the ones that were successful, but there were people that were just dirt poor. There were people of European background. There were people from Mexico. When we go back and look at the census, there were people from France, there were people from Denmark, people that came there to farm. And so there was really kind of a mixed international background in the Deerfield area. And when the African Americans began to buy farms and then homestead a lot of the land, they became an important part of what we call a multi-ethnic community.
They got along with their neighbors. In fact, I talked to a Mexican family that lived about a mile from Deerfield. And the mother told them on Sunday morning, be quiet, don't say anything, open the windows. And they could hear the singing from the church that went across the fields, so they could enjoy that. Squire Brockman was his name, not his title, but Squire was his name. And he was a fiddler, and his brother-in-law played the banjo. And they would have dances in Deerfield. And white people would come to the dances. So you have black and white people on the dance floor. And again, you have the rise of the Ku Klux Klan in Denver, but you have people getting along.
Deerfield started with just one man, O.T. Jackson, an entrepreneur and homesteader from Ohio.
And he was really the guiding light for the colony, particularly in its first 10 years. He was well educated. He came from Ohio. He came from a family that had college backgrounds. Things that O.T. Jackson did, though, is that he kind of swam against the current of the times, the political current of the time. In 1910, most African Americans in Colorado were Republicans. O.T. Jackson became a Democrat, and he was able to bring some African Americans to vote for Democratic candidates, including those for governor. And he was rewarded for that support of the Democratic Party by being hired by a governor in 1910 as what was called a messenger. It was an extremely high position for an African American man of the day.
Through Jackson's hard work in Deerfield and other homestead communities, he emphasized the importance of African American land ownership, an idea he adopted from famed author Booker T. Washington.
So at one point he said, he was tired of seeing black people going to town, these farmers going to town, with an empty wagon and a pocket full of money, and then go back home with a full wagon and no money in their pockets. He said that they should go to town with a full wagon and empty pockets and come back with an empty wagon and full pockets. And O.T. Jackson, he really picked up on that and thought it was very, very important. Probably the majority of people came from Denver. And again, they wanted to own their own land, their own homes and so forth. Some people were very poor. They had never farmed before. So some of them had to walk part of the way from Denver to Deerfield so they could get their homestead going. And O.T. Jackson loaned them money so they could do that, because you got your land, but also you had to build a house, a 10 by 20 foot house on it.
Now, Deerfield is a passion project of a different kind. The Deerfield Dream Project has grown into a wide interdisciplinary study involving half a dozen academic organizations, including UNC, CSU, CU, and Denver's Black American West Museum. The goal is to gain a greater understanding for what life was like for people on the frontier, but also to preserve this site and its artifacts.
We support their research side. So whenever they need to look at a photograph, then when they're trying to reconstruct what the space looked like, they can come and look at our photographs. We've digitized all the photos to make it easier for them as well. So yeah, we're providing, again, these building blocks for them to build the history from the written words, and they're going and like building that history from what's left of the built environment.
Those who study history can attest, the past can be very personal to those in the present. For Professors June and Brunswig, the story of Deerfield hits close to home.
Well, I grew up on a small farm in New Jersey, but Bob Brunswig grew up on a large farm. And so we know pretty much how farmers interact and stuff like that. Kids today don't know anything about how you had to wind the clock every night.
Deerfield may soon be recognized as Colorado's 27th National Historic Site, with the 2023 Deerfield Conference just around the corner on May 20th. With so much work to be done, the team behind the DREAM project hopes future generations will continue to bring Deerfield back to life.
It'd be lovely to have some faculty who decide to do, research in this area. And George and I aren't getting any younger, so we need the next generation to be able to take over at UNC. And that's kind of what I would like to happen. We'll see.
With Bear News, I'm Will Coleman.
The DREAM project has continued for more than a decade, and Professors Jun and Brunswig invite current students and faculty to continue the Deerfield legacy.
Get ready for summer nights, rodeos, concerts, and funnel cakes at the 101st Annual Greeley Stampede. The Stampede is open Thursday, June 22nd through July 4th. In February, the Greeley Stampede announced its ticketed concert lineup that will take place in the arena. The lineup features Sam Hunt, Dustin Lynch, Flo Rida, Taylor Hubbard, Lee Brice, and more. Last year, the Greeley Stampede opened a new permanent concert stage to increase concert capacity and improve the overall production capabilities. The new stage that the artists will be performing on can hold concerts for 13,000 people. The new stage features backstage green rooms, dressing rooms, showers, and amenities for performers. So if you're staying in Greeley this summer, make sure to buy your concert and rodeo tickets before they sell out.
Bandimere Speedway, also known as Thunder Mountain, located in Morrison, Colorado, is set to close after the 2023 season comes to an end. The Speedway opened in 1958 and served as a quarter-mile drag strip with 28,500 seats available for people attending events. This track is unique compared to others as it offers one of the tour's most unique challenges due to the elevation of almost 6,000 feet. Cars enthusiasts all around Colorado go to Bandimere to show off and race the builds they have been working hard on. The Bandimere family agreed to sell the property and land to make room for new developments. They are now looking for a new location to reopen since they are officially closed this upcoming fall. It will be their 65th anniversary this season, and there is a special event that will take place during the Mile High Nationals this July. About a month ago, one Greeley High School student brought together members of the community to support a good cause. Bear News reporter Hannah Turpin caught up with the University High School student to see what all the hard work was for.
Hey Madison, you did it! Yay! Saturday, March 25th, a 5K race took place at University High School located here in Greeley. The entire race was organized by Madison Croissant, a senior who attends University High School for her senior project. Becky Croissant, Madison's mother, had some very heartfelt words for her daughter.
This was going to be her senior project from day one. And so it's just been so great to see her really come out of her shell and get all these volunteers here and organize everything and down to the last second.
Madison wanted to raise money through her 5K to help out the Women to Women organization in Weld County. Through her hard work and dedication, Madison was able to raise $2,307 through the 5K race and donations in order to hand them over to Women to Women. Women to Women is a nonprofit that gives financial assistance to women who are facing financial hardship suddenly. They will give assistance of up to $750 to women in Weld County. This money is typically used for car repairs, medical costs, childcare, eye examinations. Although the day was very cold, icy, and windy, over 60 participants still showed up to support Madison and all of her hard work. Many people volunteered to help out by shoveling sidewalks, participants checking in participants, and assisting with food and drinks.
I always like to come and support kids, and also I like to walk in the snow because I'm a little bit nuts.
All of the participants who showed up were cheerful and happy to be there. Many people were concerned about the icy and slushy road conditions, but still decided to bundle up in their jackets. In the end, they all gathered around the starting point, eager for the race to start. Even our furry friends had a blast. Madison did not race, she stayed back, making sure everything was still running smoothly. Not only did Madison organize this entire race, she also outsourced her resources she needed through very generous donors who are local and wanted to see Madison succeed. Altitude Running helped out Madison with scoreboards, cones, placement bibs, and goodie bags for the contestants.
Tracking into races and being on the other side of it was just surreal to me.
The Human Bean Coffee Shop donated a few boxes of coffee and cups for anyone who showed up to this event. Madison's family made sure to bring healthy foods such as bananas, bagels, granola bars for anyone who was in attendance to show their appreciation and gratitude towards the support that they gave to Madison.
If you are interested in making your own donation, please visit weldw2w.org. This is Hannah Turpin reporting for Bear News.
Thanks, Hannah, and congrats to Madison on all of her hard work.
Are you a fan of beautiful animation? Well, good news. Makoto Shinkai's acclaimed anime film Suzume is now in theaters in North America. The film is a coming-of-age story for the 17-year-old protagonist Suzume, set in various disaster-stricken locations across Japan, where she must close the doors causing devastation. Drawn in by these mysterious doors, Suzume's journey is about to begin. Suzume is Shinkai's 13th directorial work, and his earlier works include Weathering with You, Your Name the Garden of Words, and 5 centimeters per second. Tickets are now on sale. Come down to the Crest Cinema and Lounge in downtown Greeley on May 16th to celebrate the 12th Annual Film Festival hosted by the Weld County Area Agency on Aging. The Weld County Agency on Aging receives funding from the Federal Older Americans Act to provide services to those in Weld County 60 and older. The agency also includes aging and disability resources and adult protective services for those 18 and older, with more than 16 offices in Colorado alone. The festival will show short films that showcase and honor the joys and challenges faced later in life to recognize Older Americans Month in May. The films were chosen from all around the world, with hundreds of hours dedicated to choosing which films would be shown at the festival. While the films center around aging, the messages and themes that accompany them show a compelling, funny, and interesting outlook on life in general. With a wide variety of entertaining, thought-provoking, and emotional films on the roster this year, all from independent filmmakers, you won't want to miss it. Tickets to the event are free, but they run out fast.
We apologize for the technical difficulty that prevented us from showing you this story sooner. Now let's take a look at what those campus squirrels are up to.
That's a cute dude. What's he doing?
They've stolen the hearts of students and faculty.
I love that humans love the squirrels.
And occasionally steal food out of trash cans. Lauren Benedict is a biology professor here on campus, and she tells us a little more about these little guys on campus.
So the squirrels that we have on campus are fox squirrels, and that's a very common species of squirrel. Colorado actually has a number of squirrel species, both tree squirrels that have the big fluffy tails, and then ground squirrels that they look a little more like small prairie dogs, and prairie dogs themselves are actually squirrels.
These little guys are actually the largest species of tree squirrel in North America.
Fox squirrels that we have on campus are really good at living with humans. They're very much adapted to our kind of trash cans and human food that we leave behind, so you get a lot of fox squirrels living in places where people live.
Their diet consists of nuts, fruits, insects, and your leftovers.
Squirrels benefit from living with humans for sure, in that they eat all of our food scraps and they get warmth from the buildings and the things that we've built in the area. And I think they give us some joy in return. So there's that. There are probably some negative effects because just like a lot of the junk food you eat isn't great for you, it's probably not great for squirrels either.
Some students on campus take their love to the next level. Holly Ackermann runs the Sexy Squirrels of UNCO Instagram page.
Yeah, in no way, shape, or form are we attracted sexually to the squirrels, but, we love them.
The story behind the Instagram page was simple, a love for these furry critters.
There was one squirrel in particular by the Toby Kendall dining hall. He was eating a piece of pasta, and I could hear him chewing the piece of pasta. So I think that particular squirrel was like, yeah, I gotta share these dudes with the world, the campus. Yeah, so the profile picture of sexy squirrels at UNCO is actually that particular squirrel eating a piece of pasta.
Holly doesn't run the only UNC Squirrel Instagram page. UNCO Squirrels is another Instagram page with their own passion.
I think it's fun how often you'll see multiple squirrels just kind of chasing each other. Like they're social creatures and they'll like just hang out with each other. And you can see them playing their little games and looking in the trash for food. And I don't know, I think it's really fun. I think they're more clever than people give them credit for. They're actually really smart and they're pretty much indestructible.
There's a certain mythology around some of the squirrels on campus. Legends tell of a white-tailed squirrel on Central, a squirrel who, when seen, gives out good grades. Or maybe it's just a squirrel with a white tail.
Some kind of weird abnormality in their color, their melanin genes. But what's really cool is that you can identify that one individual. And I guess people know it, or people love it because they know it's the same.
The white-tailed squirrel might not grant you good grades, but studying will. So maybe take the time to get to know your other local squirrels.
Squirrel. And I would bet that if you regularly have a squirrel outside your window and it kind of sits in the same place and eats something every day, that's going to be the same squirrel every day. So they are pretty predictable, and they have little home ranges where they stay within their home range, and you can get to know your other individual squirrels in the area too.
Squirrels have become a cultural icon on campus, bringing people a little more joy to the mundane.
Squirrel. And I would bet that if you regularly have a squirrel outside your window and it kind of sits in the same place and eats something every day, that's going to be the same squirrel every day. So they are pretty predictable, and they have little home ranges where they stay within their home range, and you can get to know your other individual squirrels in the area too.
Curious on how you can support your local fox squirrel population?
I think the best thing that you can do to support the squirrels actually is to have lots of sort of natural areas around. Don't feed them necessarily. They can find their own food. You know, you don't really want to touch them. You don't want to get in super close contact with them. But as everyone knows, squirrels love acorns and squirrels love all of those kinds of seeds.
And if you happen to snap a cute picture, maybe think about forwarding it to your local Instagram page. For Squirrel News, I'm Emily.
Wow, I'm so happy we got to see that story. Those squirrels are so cute. Thank you so much for joining us on our final show this semester.
And from all of us here at Bear News, we appreciate you sitting down with us every Friday, and we can't wait to see you again next semester.
For the last time, I'm Alani Cassiano.
And I'm Mia Olivas.